Um, Liam Neeson as as Hannibal is very odd because he's got this Irish American accent, and I tell you what he sounds like. He sounds like, I might have the name wrong, so if a little thing up at the bottom of the screen comes up in a second, you'll know why. James Cromwell, out of LA Confidential and Babe and stuff. It sounds like him a bit. It was just really annoying me, so I was like, hang on, why? But everybody is excellently cast. I can't remember the guy of who plays BA. But like I say, Liam Neeson as Hannibal is... I can't dispute it. He's not great. I can't really think off the top of my head of anybody that could have done better. The guy who plays Murdoch is... Nobody will ever beat Dwight Schultz. Let's face it. Dwight Schultz is Howlin' Mad Murdoch. Let's just deal with that. But of course he's a bit too old for the role, blah blah blah. The guy, again, I can't remember his name, who played him was good. And they really tried, but my only problem with the movie is it did feel as if they were trying a bit too hard with making Murdoch mad. There was the only thing I felt that really felt out of place was when he was doing because he'd splashed all this blue paint on him while they were doing this work. There was like a Blue Man Group joke, and which also got confusing because then it made the timeline kind of, well, where are they supposed to be? It kind of made the timeline of what? There was a Blue Man Group joke, and there was something else he did with the blue paint on. But then he did a Braveheart joke where you'll never take our women, you can take our women, but you'll never take our freedom. And it was fine, but it was a pretty long quote, and once you got the joke, then that was fine. But then it felt as if it was going on, and it was like, okay, no, you can stop. If they'd just gone, you'll never take our freedom, then it wouldn't have been so bad, maybe, because you would have got that it was with this blue paint across his face. You would have got it was a Braveheart joke, but that was the main problem. But you know what? The guy who played Face, and I'm really bad tonight. I can't remember his name. I've seen it on the posters. One thing that annoyed me is at the start, when it's introducing them, it comes up with this big, like, their name. And it only said Hannibal Smith, it didn't say John. It said for B.A. Bosco and then B.A. Brackus. And it was like, he was the only one that they did that for. Because otherwise, for Face, they put Faceman Peck. Not Templeton, or or for Murdoch they put H.M. Murdoch. It's like, what? So it's like, if you're going to introduce these characters for the first time, put their full name. And I guess the assumption is that you're going to know who they are, but that's because I'm an old fuddy-duddy, But anyway, so Face was well cast. But actually he felt more crazy at times than Murdoch. So that felt a bit... There was a bit of a level there where it was like, huh? But everybody was well cast. The action is excellent. There are not loads of explosion. There's a huge explosion at the end on this big like rig of hauling containers. But there is gunfire in that, but there's not like loads of bodies. There's no real blood in that. They try to avoid this did avoid me because it is an old joke. That's done in movies and that, when they're going to swear and they're like, you mother, and then there's like an explosion or a boo or whatever. They were trying to avoid saying, the F word and that, and then they would quite happily outwardly say shit. And which actually, the X-Files movie, it was like, oh, you could say shit, but you can't say anything else. which is really odd. You know, if I go out and say shit to somebody, it'd be, well, you're swearing. But anyway, so I've lost track now. I apologise. But you know, the action was excellent and that. There was no real blood in that. There was not really any swearing. There was one point, and I don't get motion sick or anything, but there was one point when they first go up in this helicopter, and it does this loop-de-loop, and I was sat there, I was like, I was ready to upchuck, because it really, and just thinking about it now makes me feel a bit, ugh. It was really, much like in Inception with this road that goes over, it was just really, really, you just felt as if you were there. And because it's done from like a first person viewpoint, you're like, whoa. And honestly, again, just as where it wasn't in 3D, and I think that affects my enjoyment of the movie, and it's nice to be able to enjoy it without these bloody glasses kind of taking up your face and kind of bouncing on your nose and all the black peripheral kind of stuff around the gubbins. But like I say, it was just excellent, and it leaves it open for more, and I really actually hope there is more. I think there could be an A-Team too, and I hope there is, because I enjoyed it a lot. And you know what? Despite my kind of, I think because it shocked me so much and I enjoyed it so much, I am actually going to give it 5 out of 5, because it was just too much fun. And it was the right balance mix of action and humour. So, seriously, if you are a fan of the original TV show, do not be put off. Actually go see it, because you will enjoy it. The only thing which actually might knock my mark down is the poor use, and I guess, I don't know, you know, with Mission Impossible, they kind of redid the music, and it's kind of a hit and miss as to whether you like it or not. They didn't, like, redo the theme or anything, and to be fair, I didn't stop until the very end of I didn't stay until the very end of the credits, so if it's at the very end, then I don't know, but they didn't redo the theme. And it gets used at one point in a very kind of funny scene where they're at the mental hospital where Murdoch is. And they everyone will go in and they make a joke of 3D, but they've got the blue and the red, the two separate glasses. And they go, 3D, 3D. And this movie comes on like a projector on the screen. And it's called The Greater Escape, because this is when Hannibal and BA have escaped from their maximum security prisons, and you see this kind of Humvee on the screen, and they played the old classic TV tune, which is fine except not slightly out of place. And then the Humvee, real one, drives through the wall, and like the mental patients are like, yay, 3D. That was very funny, and like I said, but it just felt like a poor use of the theme, which is one of my favourite TV themes ever. I mean, that theme is just so kick-ass. So it did surprise me that they didn't redo it. They certainly didn't use it at the start or anything. So that would be the only thing to knock maybe a star, half a star down. But otherwise, I cannot recommend that movie enough. So definitely check out the A-Team.